You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. And I thought it would be really fun to do the episode that I'm going to share with you today because I just realized that I actually don't have a podcast episode about this. I was going to share one with someone that I was speaking with on Facebook the other day. And then I just realized, oh, hey, I don't actually have an episode. I don't actually have a training on how to hit multiple six figures in your business, multiple six figures per year, and kind of what this looks like and the steps that I took to do this, how long it took me, and just kind of a lot of the perspectives that I have about making more money, essentially, and really surpassing that other milestone. And so the first thing that I want to say here, making multiple six figures in a year in your business can mean so many things. Like, it's so broad. It's literally $200K a year to a little bit under $1 million a year. So, you can double and triple that and still be at the quote unquote multiple six figure level. I'm talking a little bit more today about the low multiple six figure level per year, just because I don't like talking about things that I haven't necessarily done or that I haven't really taught someone else to do. This is one way of me being really, really transparent with you. But I have hit the multiple six figure a year level for almost 3 years now. And I can safely say that I know what I'm talking about. I've also helped several of my clients get beyond the 10K month mark and have created business plans and strategies for them that I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in this podcast episode today. And one thing that I find really interesting, especially when we start planning these things out in our businesses and start asking ourselves, like truly asking ourselves, what do I want to create? How many people do I want to impact with the work that I'm doing? And how much do I feel like I want to make? It's really interesting because then your price points and your business and your business model don't come from a place of scarcity or from a place of, oh, well, I just want to, pay my bills, or, oh, I made this much in my 9 to 5, therefore that's how much I want to make my business. It comes so much more from a place of inspiration, a place of dreaming, and a place of like really living up to your fullest potential. And when I start brainstorming those types of things with my clients, I actually used to do a retreat where we worked on this exact thing in terms of understanding how much you need to take in from your business in order for you to like truly live life out loud. And, then adding how much you need to pay for taxes, how much overhead fees come into all of that as well. And what I find really interesting is usually when people first come to me, they're just like, okay, I just want to make what I made in my 9 to 5, or I just, it's always this if I could just make this amount. And then once they see how, I don't want to say easy, but often how simple it is to start making more than that and to start scaling their businesses more and to start understanding and like fully believing that they're worthy of more. It's really interesting to me that once we do this exercise, so many of them land at the multiple six figure mark in terms of how much they know that they would need in order to truly live life out loud and live a really amazing, inspiring, freedom-based life. And so that's what I'm all about. Those are the people who I also love working with. I love that energy. I also love the fact that when you can make more, you can also inspire more people, because the reality of online business is that you're going to reach far, far, far more people than the people that that actually buy from you. And so when you think about hitting higher levels of income in your business, you're also hitting a wider audience. And when you hit a wider audience, that means that so much of your free stuff goes to a wider audience. And it's really incredible what starts to happen there and how many amazing reviews and testimonials and messages that you can get from people who you never even knew existed, who are just so inspired by everything you do, right? It's kind of like this podcast. I have over 7,000, at the time of this recording, I have over 7,000 downloads of this podcast, which is so cool to me. I always have people messaging me being like, oh, I really like that episode, Sarah. And it's free. No one has to pay anything for this podcast. I record an episode or I publish an episode once every other week, trying to work on weekly, but you guys is still not there for me yet. And I just do this because I love it. And a part of it also helps me get clients because these are nurture strategies for my business. But then, I mean, the vast majority of people who listen to this podcast don't buy anything from me either. So isn't it amazing that the more money that you create, the more impact you're going to make in the world? Have a think about that because I find that so empowering, and I've actually done a few episodes on that as well. So if you want to go back and listen to some of those episodes in terms of why you'll help more people when you charge more, I think is one of the names of the episodes, you're going to get really inspired as well. Okay, so I first started hitting multiple six figures in my business in 2020. I do believe that I hit it in the first 10 months of 2020, and to be completely honest, it probably all came in right in and around when the pandemic started, which was really crazy. It wasn't as a result of the pandemic. So I have a lot of people asking me that. Oh, do you think it was because of the pandemic and, like so many people were working from home? No, I actually started a brand new strategy in my business that coincided with the beginning of the pandemic. And so correlation doesn't mean causation. And I think that that's a really important point with a lot of the things that we do in our businesses. But it happened really, really quickly. So me doubling my income happened really, really quickly. And the thing that I love about that is the fact that we always believe that things need to progress gradually and it needs to be like a gradual increase, because that's what we know is true from so many different areas of our lives, right? Like even in jobs, right? With our employers, you can get slight raises, right? So maybe every 2 years you get a slight raise, or maybe every 5 years you're up for a promotion. But even those raises and promotions, they're not going to be 100%, right? It's not like, oh, here's double your salary. And so we expect the same types of things to happen in business. But in reality, the really, really great thing about owning your own business is you can quantum leap within your income at any point in time, as long as you know the strategies necessary to do so. And so in the beginning of 2020, I had invested in brand new strategies in my business. I also let go of a strategy that wasn't really working very well for me. So I realized in the beginning of 2020, I tried to kind of do a lot more like lower cost offers. But then what I really realized within that was that my heart was really in high support offers where I can kind of just give people one-to-one customizable options for their businesses. And when I really started to lean into that and what I really wanted to offer and combined that with a brand new strategy that I was working on, that's when my business really started to boom. And so it was already doing really well. I was already hitting six figures in my business, but to really get to that multiple six-figure mark, especially in the beginning, was mainly about making sure that the offer that I was putting out there was going to be an offer that was scalable and was something that was going to generate me the type of income that I wanted to generate. And I wanted to also, or I needed to make sure that I was getting the right amount of people into my community. And I think that this is my first big tip if you want to hit multiple six figures in your business, is that usually you can hit six figures without having like a really solid, consistent lead generation funnel or strategy. And what I mean by lead generation is essentially bringing more people into your community and becoming more visible. And I would say everyone needs this. This is one of the things that I focus on the most with a lot of my clients who are ready to scale to six figures, especially because this is like a big gap for a lot of people, right? There's a difference between putting content on the internet, but then actively bringing more people to look at your content. It's not just about posting things that you think are going to go viral. It's also about finding where your ideal clients are and actively doing things online that are going to make them become exposed to your content. You can't just let the Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn algorithms do that for you. And so when you focus on getting more people in front of your offers, that's literally the driver that can get you to double your income within 1 or 2 months' time. Usually for the beginning of multiple six figures, so the beginning of really trying to double your income or surpass the six-figure mark is if you already have a really great offer that people love, because, that's the point of hitting six figures, is getting an offer that people really, really love, putting it out there and having it validated in your market, right? So having people be like, yes, this thing is good. Yes, I really like this. Yes, this person is actually helping me with the thing that they're selling. And so once you have that thing, step 2 with that thing is how can you scale it without feeling super overwhelmed with it either? So when I first started scaling, admittedly, I was still really consumed by one-to-one calls and one-to-one clients. And the majority of the income that I created in 2020, even when I doubled my income, still the majority of my income was coming from one-to-one clients. And so was it great that I doubled my income? Yes, absolutely. Loved working with everyone that year as well. My clients got some really, really great results. I created really great testimonials from my business. Things just kind of boomed from there. However, what I find really interesting is the difference between my income in 2020 and 2021 wasn't actually that big. However, the vast majority of my income in 2021 came from group programs and no longer came from one-to-one clients. And that is your leverage for scalability. So if you want to scale your business, you're going to want to start looking at what offers do I have that aren't going to suck all of my time out of me, right? Because time is finite. You only have a certain number of hours in the week that you can handle one-to-one client calls. So my way to solve this problem for myself, if you will, was to create other higher leveraged offers. And so to start creating offers that I really liked and that I still knew were going to be customizable at a one-to-one level, but that weren't going to consist of one-to-one calls. Because I knew that the minute that I get someone on a phone call with me one-to-one every single week, that's going to eat up a lot of my time, right? So I could have 20 people a week on one-to-one calls and I wouldn't have any extra time in the day to do anything else in my business except for maybe a little bit of content. Or I can place the vast majority of those people in a group program where I'm still messaging them one-to-one. I'm still reviewing things for them, but it's no longer that 1 hour of designated time each and every week that is consuming my calendar and my schedule. And instead, it's being placed and they're still getting the support in different ways. And so the first step, let me just kind of back up. One of the first steps to scaling your business beyond six figures and kind of into the multiple six-figure mark is creating more volume, right? So getting more people into your programs. But then at that specific point in time, you're going to reach another block where you have too many people that are occupying your schedule. And so when you reach that block, then what you're going to want to do is create a scalable offer where you can, one, still bring more people in because it's all about volume when you're scaling, but also two, make sure that you have an offer for those people that isn't going to consume as much of your time in your day-to-day schedule. And I cannot even begin to explain to you how great it feels for me personally to help my clients within my group programs and still provide them such similar access to me. But the access that I now provide for them can be on my own time. So it's when I want to go in and review what it is that they have given me to review, or when I go in and access my messages. And they're still getting the same results, which I think is really, really great. The only difference is that I'm not taking up all of that time in my schedule. And so creating that scalable program where you're even recording a lot of what you know, because let's be honest, when you are taking on a ton of one-to-one clients, you're probably saying the exact same thing to them over and over and over again. One thing that I learned really, really early on in this business was to start recording everything that I knew. And the more I recorded things, the more that I recorded modules, then the better quality my services also were, because then I could just tell my clients, hey, you can check out this module. And at the end of this module, there's some action steps that you can take. Send me those action steps. And then boom, we no longer have to talk strategy on their calls. We can now talk mindset. We can now talk energetics. We can now customize that strategy. I don't have to spend, the precious time that they have with me trying to teach them something that I can easily teach them on video. And then once you can easily teach someone that on video, then it becomes even easier to create stackable income for your business, because then you can sell people those specific video modules. And the third strategic part of all of this is really learning to rely a lot more on your team. And so you might be able to get to the six-figure level or even a little bit beyond the six-figure level with, like one team member. But to hit multiple six figures and to kind of continue to grow from there, you are just as strong as your team is, right? So you want to make sure that you have a really, really solid team in place and you have the right people in the right places on your team. So this is when you become a really great leader as well. You want to make sure that you know how to lead, you know how to delegate, and you also know how to pick up on people's specific strengths. Because you're now going to be formulating a team that's going to be working with you on similar goals and on your business's mission to create something that's a lot more scalable. And if you're not employing the right people, or if you're not putting them in the right areas of your business where they can grow and where they feel really confident, you're always going to run into blocks there as well. Because you can't do this on your own. Multiple six figures is a whole other ballgame. I know I'm talking about it as if it's the most normal thing in the world. I know it's not. I know it's not normal. I know that this is something that a lot of people strive to do. I've kind of normalized it for myself because I've been here for a bit of time now, which is great. But it's also, a whole new world of really testing your own limits, really testing your limits of what it means to be a leader. And the last little piece of this, which is not by any means the least important, this is a really, really huge piece, is your mindset throughout this whole process. And so let me give you an example for me. I know that so many of my clients and so many of my community members are recovering people pleasers, right? I say recovering because if you're owning a business and you're up-leveling your business, chances are you're already trying to tame that people-pleasing aspect of yourself. But what happens with people who are people pleasers and people who are in general taught at a very young age to be very pleasant, very inviting, make sure that they don't make anyone feel bad. We constantly have to manage everyone else's expectations of us. We tend to not want to do things that are going to quote unquote piss other people off. And here's the problem with that. Success and seeing other people's success pisses a lot of people off. People seeing other people happy, especially on the internet, pisses a lot of people off. And so the amount of people who get peeved by someone's success is usually relatively low, right? Let's say, for example, it's like, I don't know, 1% of the internet, right? So let's say, for example, you have 100 followers, that one person will get really, really peeved by your success. But when you're growing and you're becoming more and more visible, let's say, for example, it's no longer 100 followers, now it's 1,000 followers, and now it's 10 people who are getting pissed off by your content. And they're making it known to you because, of course, they have to, right? They don't have anything else to do. And they want to make it known to you that they don't like you. And if it's 10,000 people, then you have to increase that amount once again, right? And before you know it, you have a lot of people who don't like you because they just don't like success. They don't like seeing other people's success. It's not necessarily that you've done anything wrong. It's just that when you expose yourself to more and more people, you're naturally always going to get more and more negativity. It's not something that anyone can take away. It's not something that anyone can avoid. However, if you're not careful with your mindset, you might try to avoid it. You might try to say, this strategy is not going to work for me. Look how many people are pissed off by it, right? Or, I shouldn't say this in my Facebook ad because there's so many of these people who don't like it. Or you might even get triggered and say, oh my goodness, I'm unsafe, right? Your nervous system will be shot because you'll say, oh my goodness, all of these people hate me, right? I'm unsafe. And then you go into your trauma responses. And so if you're not dealing with all of those things and really releasing that subconscious trauma and really working through that, you could potentially self-sabotage a lot of the growth that you're creating in your business. There are other things that go on in our brains as well when we try to up-level that sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing. Another really common one is, your fear of success. So either your fear of getting way too busy and not being able to provide what you want for your clients, that might deter you from, outreaching to more people or selling more or selling consistently. If you've ever felt unsafe in the limelight and maybe you had a family member who's always jealous of you or someone close to you who's always jealous of you, that could be another reason why you feel really, really uncomfortable with exposing yourself more. And so therefore, you'll probably find excuses as to why you can't expose yourself, why you can't hit publish on that specific piece of content, or why you can't hit publish on that new ad, or do that new strategy that's going to help you become more visible, or share more of your story on other people's podcasts. These are all things that if we're not dealing with them, if we're not working through them, uncovering them, and then releasing them, they can sabotage so many of the strategies for our businesses, even in the way that we hire team members, even in the way that we decide who gets hired and who gets fired. Let's say, for example, if you're not firing people fast enough because, once again, you're a people pleaser, or you feel really bad or guilty, or you feel unworthy of having the success that you have, you're going to have a bad team member on your team for longer than you need. And if that person's a bad team member and they're not producing what they need to in order for your business to scale, that's also going to impede you from really making a higher income. And that's not a strategy thing, right? It's a mindset thing. It's because you haven't fully dealt with your subconscious trauma, or you haven't really fully dealt with all of the fears that you have. And you might not even know that they exist. This is why one-to-one coaching is so, so helpful for scaling. It's not just for knowing the strategies and the best strategies that are working on the internet today, but it's also for making sure that your mind is functioning at 100% in terms of your performance. And then equally as important with that is also understanding your energy and understanding your energetic levels throughout the day. Understanding what makes you feel really inspired, what makes you feel really motivated, and what really drags you down. Understanding how regulated your nervous system is, and understanding how to regulate your nervous system more consistently throughout your day so that you're not going into trauma responses. That's energy work, right? Those are energetic things that we can also control in order to function optimally when we are implementing strategies in our businesses. And then the next level of this is really exhausting your own ability to coach at specific levels in your group programs, get on sales calls and things like that. Once you reach that level, then it also becomes a really nice, fun, whole other ballgame, because then what you essentially want to do every time that you're scaling and growing is you want to realign yourself with what your zone of genius is and hire out for everything else. And so eventually your business would probably have a sub coach, your business would probably have a sales team, and all you need to do is just focus on your zone of genius, your content, providing amazing value for your clients, and really increasing that visibility every single time that you want to grow and scale. And then the possibilities are endless, right? They're completely limitless, and it all depends on how much you want to grow, right? So at the end of the day, it depends on what type of life you want to live, how much money you believe that you need, and how much of an impact that you really want to create. And so this is essentially how you grow into the multiple six-figure levels. This is more so in terms of the lower multiple six figures. I definitely say the last little bits of information that I gave you are more on the higher end of multiple six figures, which is super exciting if you feel like you're leaning into that as well. And I'm excited for you. I'm so excited for you to kind of see what possibilities lie ahead of you. If you want to, after this episode, go ahead and start writing a whole bunch of this down, and feel free to send me a message on Instagram with all of your thoughts in terms of how you want to uplevel your business. I'd love to hear from you. You can find me at Sara without an H, J Loureiro on Instagram or anywhere else. Thank you so much for listening. It would be the world to me if you shared this episode with a friend who you know really needs to hear it. And I will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.